Did
I
someone
think we're
hit it?
live. I think we're live. I hit it.
Are we
Hi,
live?
everyone. Dan here on with Chief Experts and on with John and Renee. I don't think Kevin and Robin will be joining us today. So welcome to the show. I just had a little video up here that I posted. This is, I'm not sure how clear that's coming in, but that is a project that I did uh, for a client, contractor that we worked together. We worked on that for quite a while, years, a couple of years.
That's beautiful.
And yeah, I was just there a couple months ago taking a lot of pictures of this project. And because usually I never get to see anything that I draw once it's finished.
Yeah.
And it really turned out phenomenal. Just, 18,000 square feet of just really nice house. I mean, it's not super luxurious, but it's really quite nice. And the contractor did a phenomenal job. He is just, yeah, it was a fun project. So here I can fast forward that a little bit. But yeah, someone shot this video, which turned out really nice. It doesn't do any justice to the inside, which is again phenomenal. And
Great lighting.
oh, everything in this house is the smart system,
Mm-hmm.
low voltage, all that kind of stuff. You can control everything from anywhere, and you can when you leave the property, you can zip out of the property with a touch of a button, shut everything down. So it really is cool to see something. Everything you see there is man-made. That
I was just going to ask.
There used to be a lot. It's a ranch, and there were no lakes. There were nothing. So everything was created there. And,
Yeah. Wow. What a project.
Yeah, it was quite a project.
This brings up a great question.
Mm-hmm.
How do people set it up to get their finished pictures? It's got to be different from your design builders versus your designers. Like me as a designer, it's so challenging to schedule and coordinate and get in there hopefully before the client screws it up with all their personal items.
Oh,
And then I just
well,
what are people's approach? I'd love to see it in the comments. How do you get in there and get your finished pictures?
yeah. Well, this one, it was all professionally done with an interior designer. I mean, she actually works full time for the clients that built this house because they have other properties too, and it is so well decorated. It's just, it looks like it's been staged by a professional, which it has been.
Yeah.
So everything is new, everything is great. I mean, I shouldn't say everything's new. There's a lot of antiques in there that they've weaved in things off the property. I mean, it's really a cool story on this whole project. So that's part of what's really fun about it.
I've thought about bringing stuff to stage a shot just so I can because those pictures are money. They will make your career if you got a good portfolio of your finished projects. Yeah.
It's kind of weird too, because I look at my website and I don't have any of my projects posted on there. It's like I do a lot of really big, cool projects that, and I do a lot of little projects that are cool too. So I keep telling myself I need to get stuff posted, and I'll get to it. It's like all of us in our business, what's our priorities? So
I've been getting kitchen jobs for 6 or 7 years from one client that I never saw their finished kitchen. I still haven't seen it, and obviously everybody loves it because I keep getting jobs from it.
Yeah, you'll have to get out there and check it out. Now, John, I know you do a lot of nice projects too. So
yeah, I never get to see any of it either anymore.
Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, we're going to talk CAD tools today, I believe. Before we get into that, let's see.
What is this comment? I've had to purchase several stools for our kitchen shots. I know I have a side gig. Yeah, see, this person's bringing in stools. That's funny.
That's cool.
Look, we started a conversation here. You're not going to get away from it.
How to stage a project? That'd be a fun show, actually.
Reach out to a magazine company. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Sponsors, manufacturers, local suppliers, things like that. So could stage it. In fact, you see that when people do open houses, like the home tours and things like that, or some contractors will just, showcase their projects individually.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you'll see signs in the project, this stuff was supplied by the supplier. This contractor did this work. So it's a good way to market your business and market your suppliers and have them help stage the project really nicely. So.
If I know a project, if I know what I'm going to do in a project ahead of time, I will set a camera up, tripod, and I'll note all of the information, what lens I'm using, what height the tripod was at, what angle I was at, and I'll put it on my chief architect plan, and I will shoot the as-built shot.
Oh, that's a good
And then
idea.
at the end of the project, I'll set that tripod up based on that camera's annotations.
That's cool.
And get a before after slider. You ever seen the before after sliders?
I have. They're really cool. Anyway, let's move on here. A couple quick commercials. Still have a couple rooms left in the Coeur d'Alene. So if anybody's interested in staying, please let me know. And you can see this on our website, chiefexpertsacademy.com. And then the Total Immersion Summit. John and I are putting together some more live classes. We just finished one here recently that we did. And let's see, we don't need to see that anymore. So we just, that was last week, wasn't it, John? Man.
Yeah.
Just poof, just like that. We did a 3-day introductory class and we had a ball. I mean, we had 12 people and it was really a fun class. These guys were really into it. And I thought it went really well. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, it was a really great class.
Yeah. So, and then, so we're going to do another 3-day beginner class, probably in October. I haven't really scheduled anything yet. I'll get going on that here next week. Then we're going to do a couple of days of intermediate and a couple of days of advanced. So we'll have some fun with that. Probably not Renee's kind of advanced, but still advanced.
No.
Renee is the advanced. Kind of like his hat, AC/DC, the rock star stuff.
Him getting some love today. Look at this.
He does the chief rock star. Yep. Very cool. Love it. All right. You guys got anything you want to add here at this point?
You got rooms. You still got some rooms for Coeur d'Alene?
Couple.
Get those? Couple?
Yep.
Okay.
So if anybody's going there, check it out. Be fun to have you stay with us. And
here, I'm going to show my screen real quick.
Yeah.
I use an app called ElfSite. I know we've been talking about websites. I use an app called ElfSite to do these before-after sliders.
Yeah. Those are cool.
These are so fun to me.
What
a transformation that one is, too.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
All you had to do is cut down a bush, right? And paint paint.
That's all it was. Simple project.
Yeah, right. Just cut down a bush. Yeah. There's another app. It's actually free. I would have to look it up. I'll have to do that. Let me look at that slider app.
Right.
ElfSite's, ElfSite's cool. They have a ton of different apps you can use on your website, and they're really easy to use. I was subscribed to that for a while. Trouble is you have to subscribe to it and pay for it every year. So, which is not much, but it's $80 a year or something like that. At least that's what it was when I was using it.
I think you're about right. And they let you embed PDFs in your website, and people can contact me through Facebook Messenger, through the website, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
there's probably about 30 apps, something like that, for things you can do. Yeah, it's a bunch of, it's really cool stuff. So if you're wanting to add some functionality to your website, check out ElfSite. It's ELFSIGHT, ElfSite.
ElfSite.
SITE, I bet.
Yeah.
It'll come up if you search for it.
Did you guys went through Jolene's course, right? That's come and gone, right? How'd that go?
It went really well. We had a lot of fun with it, and someone just sent me a link yesterday. I don't remember who it was right offhand. Said they've been busy working on their website, sent me a link to it, and looks great. Robert Matthews, if you're on the call, nice job. Oh no, that's not Robert. It's never mind. I had it here somewhere. Anyway, they've been doing a great job. So some of the people have really been taking the advice and really boosting their website. I know, John, you've been doing some things on your site too. So nice job. All right.
Talk just a little bit more about that before and after slider.
Okay, go ahead, Renee. As long as someone asked about
I
it real
just
quick.
posted a link to ElfSite. Hopefully, boy, that's a crazy looking link.
the trouble with those dang links is that people can't.
It doesn't look like that's a correct link.
What you guys would have to do is copy and paste out of that to do it. So because the links are not active in the chat, I don't think. So you would have to copy paste.
Something weird.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you pull that together, and when you're ready to show something, do that. In the meantime, let's go spin the wheel.
There you go. That's the spelling. Elf site.
Are you ready? John, can you control the screen? Because I'm kind of not watching.
So what are we doing? Renee or
Renee, are you ready to talk about that for a second?
Do it. Spin the wheel. Oh, about elf site?
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. You start from some kind of music's playing. Is that me?
Not hearing it.
Weird. Elf site's pretty simple, straightforward. They give you an example of one of their integrations, and you can modify that example.
And then what you do, once you create what you like, they'll give you a little code. You paste that code onto a window in your website, and it displays it there. It's very simple. It works really well.
Okay.
We'll have to.
Guys, I'm going to mute myself. I got music somewhere from something. So give me a second.
Dan, can you turn the video off? Because the wheel, I'm getting a remove button instead of an add to stream. I don't know if it's
what now?
Turn that video off you shared at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Let me just remove that. There.
I'm still getting a remove on the wheel, so if I hit it, it's going to remove it.
Okay, I'm back.
I'm just going to hit it and bring it back.
Okay. Boy, we're really on our game this morning here, aren't we?
There we go.
All right. We're good now. Okay. So now you should be just seeing the wheel, right?
Yep.
Okay. In fact, I'm just going to pull this other. I always try to keep the StreamYard screen in front of my camera, so I'm looking at you guys, but now I'm going to have to look over here on my other screen so I can see what's going on as well. All right, let's go ahead and spin up the wheel and see what we come up with today. We got some fun topics on here. And all right, so that's a simple one. You guys all know what that one is. That is make block. Okay, so actually we'll cover two icons. We're going to cover that one and this one. Oh, and I forgot to hit remove. That's okay. So let me go to Chief here. Make block. So whenever you're drawing things in Chief, lines, windows, doors, whatever, and you want to group things together. And so I take a bunch of lines, I group them together. Little icon down here, make block. And that icon is used to group things together. That was the right one. Yeah, that's the one. So when you do that, you get another icon when you click on it, and that's explode block. So that's also on the wheel. So if we land on that, we won't do that one. So it's that way you can take the block apart. So now it's individual items again. And in its simplest sense, that's what you make a group, you explode a group. You ungroup it. And the thing about all of this is that when you explode a group in Chief and you go to the CAD pull down and you go to CAD block management, you'll notice that even after you've exploded it, it's still in the program. It's still there. You can still grab that CAD block. I do that every time. I don't hit the insert button. I hit OK. So we hit insert, and now I can insert that block into my plan.
Yeah.
And so those blocks are always there. And what I want to, there's another CAD block tool. I'll show you some other things you can do with CAD blocks once you do it. But that's what CAD blocks are. So everything that you group together is a CAD block. And you can do the same with windows and doors. So if you put a couple windows in, group select them, you see kind of the same icon, but this one looks a little different, and it's called mull. It's used to mull doors and windows, but it's the same concept where you can group and ungroup items. So you could do that with just about anything in Chief Architect. I think the only things you can't really group together are walls.
I think notes.
You can't group notes together.
Yeah.
You probably can't. You can't group windows that are in two separate walls, which makes sense. But other than that, just about you could group a lot of things together in Chief. So that's the make block icon. You guys got anything
Have
else?
you ever gone through the really convoluted process of doing a custom sink cutout for a fixture?
I have not.
You have to build out a countertop, make your hole in the countertop, and then retain the hole, and then block it with the rest of whatever your sink is in order for it to cut according to your spec. So if you're
always
building a
have that
sink
hole there?
with a faucet and you don't want it to cut around the faucet too, you have to do that process.
Okay. Yeah, different kind of grouping, but they get
Yeah.
the same concept.
But
All
it's
right,
the
cool.
same thing where once you make the CAD block, you go back to the symbol and you go look up through your CAD blocks and you find that custom sink one that you made.
Got it.
Before we spin the wheel again, do you guys understand what this question's about?
It's a way to frame roof fascia or very large rafters only. It would help for presentation views in early stages of design. Thanks. It's a way to frame roof fascia. I don't get what you mean, frame roof fascia. You can do a backer on the fascia. That's part of the roof settings. It would help for early stages of design. I mean, when you're working on a plan, when you're talking about framing, so let me just build a roof here quick. When you talk about framing in a plan, it's really easy to frame your plan now and show what's there, again, for those early stages. So when you're talking about the roof setup and you're talking about the structure for the roof, this is where you would set up your framing for the subfascia, and the gable subfascia, I believe. Yeah, even gable subfascia. So that's where you would set up the framing for that. And then when you frame your plan, I'll switch to my framing setup here. And there's an icon now under the framing tools to build all framing. This one right here. So you click this little icon, build all framing. That'll pop all the framing in your plan at once. And then you can look at your framing all at once. And if you've selected truss roofs, Chief will put truss roofs in your plan for you automatically. So that's pretty cool how that works too. But you'll see there's your gable fascia. I hope that's answering that question.
And then, I mean, you could delete the rafters as you needed to.
You could. Let's see if we highlighted the rafter tool and just draw a marquee over that. You just get rafters only. So just don't delete that. And that would leave leave that info. Let's get back to this. So I could delete it from this view too. Just click on them and delete them. So there you go. Way to build it, but you can see, you have a lot of control over that. Okay, I hope that helps. Yeah, if there's other questions, people, feel free to answer. Yeah, go ahead and answer them, but feel free to post them. Hey, Sandy, how are you? Nice to see you. I see Sandy's on the list today.
What's Sandy saying? Is there anyone that wants to come work with me? Nice.
She's hiring.
Oh, hey, Sandy. Nice.
Sandy's busy.
Sandy, you coming this year? Is she coming?
No.
To Coeur d'Alene?
No, she's not.
Why? I liked all the spice she brought last time.
Yeah, she does bring it. All right, let's go back and spin the wheel again. Let me just do something here before I do that. Let me delete this because we already covered that. And I'm going to delete
Here's a clarification of that question.
Okay.
I just wanted to frame the fascia only, not all the interior rafters. This would be so that the camera view looks better. Would save me the hassle of deleting all the rafters or trusses. Just turn off your automatic framing, and then it won't frame that stuff.
Also, super fast to delete all your rafters and rebuild them.
Yeah, just like I showed you. Just highlight the rafter icon, draw a marquee, done. Just don't include the soffit or the fascia framing.
Yeah, I just have my automatic framing turned off. I don't frame it until I'm done modeling it.
Okay. And that's the cool thing about group selecting things in Chief. Again, almost all these icons that you see up here, if you select them and hold your shift key down and marquee select, you're only going to get those items in your marquee selection. Mm-hmm. So that's massive time saver. All right, let's go spin the wheel up. Keep asking questions, guys. That's great. All right, another simple one. We've covered this in the past, but I thought I'd throw it on there because it's such a good one. Let's get out of there. That is the convert line to arc and convert arc to line. Okay, so when you're drawing things in Chief, when you draw a line and you convert it to an arc, it's this icon right here. And, you know, Chief could exclude all the arc tools, and I wouldn't bother me because I never use them anyway. I start everything with a line and then I convert it to an arc. Okay. If I wanted to convert this wall to an arc, to a round curved wall, I would draw the wall, make it the size I want, and then set the arc in the dialog for that wall. So really works well. I think one of the things I wanted to show real quick, sometimes you want to create arrows that are curved. So a real simple way to do that is to draw a line. Let me just close my browser here. So we're going to draw that line. And I'm going to make a line that's kind of like that. There's a couple ways to do this, but I'm going to use the 3 key to add a break in there. Then I'm just going to hit the make line to arc, and I set up a keystroke, Shift D, because I use this a fair amount. So I just hit Shift D and I go like that, and then I go like that, and there's my curved line. And then I could take that, go to my arrows and turn arrows on both ends. And then I could make the arrows bigger, smaller, make them any kind of arrow I want. And there you go. So and you can change the size of the arrowheads on that line. It works really well. Another way to do it is to draw your line. You don't need to convert line to an arc. Just grab with your right mouse button and you can bend the line. Add a break in the line, grab it, move it. So right mouse button. That's the other way to make arcs in Chief. And at any time, you can convert that arc back to a line by clicking on the same tool. That makes it a line.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a, not only is a convert line, but it's convert selected edge, right?
Exactly. I can't do it to roof, so nothing for a roof. But any kind of line, you can do that. Countertops, sidewalks, roads, anything made out of a CAD polyline other than roofs. So there's
I find it much easier to start with CAD and then convert my CAD shape to what I want, as opposed to starting with the countertop. I'd rather start with CAD because we're not building in 3D. It's not as much, it's not as laggy, you know. So.
Well, I lay out almost all night whenever I do a kitchen design in Chief. I'm laying out. I use countertops. The reason I use countertops is custom countertops. I'll just start laying them out, hit my tab key, and I want to make that minus 25. Because I can break them, shape them, make them whatever I want really easily. And the cool thing about it is I can look at it in 3D and get a little sense of the traffic flow. So when I'm doing things like that, so I can measure off that. And if I like it, I just leave them there and put my cabinets underneath it. So I find that to be a real simple way to start laying out kitchens, is to use custom countertops rather than, you know, putting all these different cabinets in. Because what's the first thing you do in a kitchen when you're laying it up? You're trying to figure out a good traffic pattern. Then we start working on the appliances, you know. So that's another thing, you know, if you had, Renee, you probably have libraries set up full of stoves and, you know, different kitchen variations that you just pop in and move the things around. So another nice way to do it.
I'm curious, Dan, with the line, the arc, but making the line into an arc, like with the connection things for electrical lights to switches and stuff, does it matter which direction you start the line from?
Yeah.
Or which way the arc goes?
Yep. Yes. Since you told me that once, John, how does that work again? If I go that way,
go up. When you make the arc, you pull it the other way, it'll go down.
So here's my start end. Here's my start end. So if I convert those to arcs, you'll see that they'll go. Yep. So
that's kind of handy if you can keep that in mind when you're doing stuff.
Yeah. So let's see if I go this. If I go from top down, it's going to put the arc on the right side. If I go bottom up, it's going to put the arc on the left side. Yeah, that's a good little tip.
Cool. The electrical connection tool does that too, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. That's how we discovered that. Here's an interesting thing. We've never talked about anything like this. the power of the plus ABC button for changing.
Yeah, that gets you quickly to being able to select a line segment and then, select a dimension segment and change the leading or trailing text or suppress the dimension.
Oh yeah, I use that one once in a while. A good use for that is, I know what he's talking about. So a good use for that might be if you ever dimensioned a bay window or something and you got a fraction, like a 16th of an inch, you just don't want it there. So just click on the dimension and click the plus ABC sign down here at the bottom. Okay. And then like you were saying, we can then, let's turn the auto refresh off. And now I can put text to beginning or end. Now, this is cool to do that, and then I could suppress the dimension value. So if I just want that to say 15'7" and not the eighth, I just leave one of those off, suppress the dimension. Now I've changed it to 15'7". I guess I had one on top of the automatic dimension. So that's how you can change it.
And notice it's listing the segment numbers, and when you use that ABC, if you hover over a different segment, you're affecting that different segment.
Yes. So, and here it is in the dialog for the window. So that button is that, it's called segments here. So here's where I typed that in, and here's where I hit suppress dimension value. So there's that information. So you can do a little bit more with it in here. Not much, but a little bit more. So that's kind of cool.
And then there is another button somewhere where you can turn it all back to the original if you get done doing that or move on and you want to get your actual dimensions back in. I forget where it's at, and I don't have my Chief open, but
how can you be at a show like this without your Chief open?
I don't have enough screens.
Come on, John. Jeez.
It's actually open, but then I'd have to lose everything else. So.
I'm just teasing. All right, let's go back. Spin the wheel up. Spin up the wheel. See what we come up with. All right. Concentric jump. You guys know that one, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what's the keystroke for concentric jump?
Control Alt C or something like that. Control C. I don't know. I don't.
C.
I converted my C to copy because I like to use that more.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Well, that overrides it then. Then you don't have concentric jump.
No, that's right. I leave my C on there because I use it all the time, and I just continue using it. I convert the copy to Control C. I get you, John. We've talked about this before. So because Chief's copy command, when you hit Control C, doesn't work the way we want it to work to copy and paste things. We'll get to that another time. But let's talk about concentric jump. So, and I'll show you a combination of things that you can use with concentric jump. In fact, I think this is one of the things I had on my to-do on my wheel, but I'll just bring it up here and we'll have some fun with it. So you want to create a column with a base and a cap and a column on top of it. Let's just go create that base. All right. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to draw a slab, and I want to put a column on the end of that slab. So I'll make this 8 feet from the house. So I'm going to draw a box. So I'll draw my slab. I'll click on the corner. I'll click this. I'll hit tab. I'm going to make it 24 by 24. 24 to the right, 24 up. There it is. And I'm going to take that and make that into the base of a column. And then I'll put a cap on top of it using concentric jump. So we're going to take that, open its dialog, give it a height of 34 inches, and we're going to get a thickness of the top of it's going to be at 34 inches. So there's that box right there. Now I want to create a little cap that goes on top of it. So here's where we're going to use concentric jump. Concentric jump is this tool right here. Okay, we see it on the edit toolbar. It's also under the pull down menu, edit. It's up here under edit behaviors, concentric jump. And you'll see the keystrokes here are C or X1. See, what is X1? What's the X1 button?
I don't know. I never knew what that was.
I didn't either.
That'd be new info for me.
Yeah. Okay.
A controller button, maybe? If you're using an Xbox controller.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll figure that out someday. But I want to make a top for this now. So here's the combination of keystrokes that you're going to use. I'm going to hit copy. Then I'm going to hit paste hold position right away. I'm going to paste that copy right where it sits right now. So now I'm working on the copy. So now I'm going to hit my C key, see how it jumps out on equally on all sides? That's your concentric jump. And then I'm going to hit tab, and I'm going to jump it up 1.5 inches. I just want a little 1.5 inch lip. Okay, and I'll put, you don't have to put the same number in both of these. I think it's whatever the one you type in first is the one that does it. And there we go. So now I've got 1.5 inch lip that I've created. Let's just double check that. Yep, there it is. And now the last thing I have to do is, let's set the bottom. Let's make this like, 2 inches tall. And I'm going to set the bottom of this at 34 inches on top of that other box. And there's my lip now. So that's a simple use of concentric jump to create something like that. Really a simple, slick way to do things like that. I'll use concentric jump. Let's say you wanted, you put a countertop in, but you need to make it a little bigger all the way around. Just concentric jump. Just again, I could click on the icon here and double click on it. And God, there's so many uses for this. I just thought, doing your lot setbacks for your properties, doing like a pool deck. I mean, I use it a lot. So, but let's say I want to jump that countertop out 1.5 inches. I'm going to set 1.5 as my jump amount. And then I could just grab any piece here and see how it jumps it. You gotta watch it here. I'm getting too much. There you go. So there's 1.5 inches. But if I try to, actually I can do individual edges here. So I could just jump those edges back 1.5. So concentric will stay there the whole time. Do you guys have any uses for concentric jump that you use?
Yeah, you can do some offset stuff with it, like site offsets.
For setbacks.
I wrote a script a script outside of Chief to access the concentric jump interval that's in the preferences. Here, I'll show my screen real quick. So let's see if this works. If I swipe up, this should get me, there's my concentric jump right there. And so if you set this, let's just say it's 20 feet, for instance, and I grab this CAD box and I hold C, that'll give me a jump of 20 feet.
Right.
Same thing. I'll use it for doors and windows a lot. So I'll set this to like 3 inches. And that way, when I resize my doors and windows, they're in 6-inch increments when I use that C key.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So all kinds of things like that. Someone was just asking the other day, can we lock, doors to be resizing by 2-inch intervals? Yeah. Set your concentric jump to 1 inch and then use that concentrically.
Makes sense. Never thought of using it for that. Cool. We got a question.
That just does the width concentrically, right? It doesn't do the height.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd have to be in an elevation to do the height.
Right.
Or is that true? Let's see.
Yeah, I'll answer this one. So question is, using temporary dimensions, they're okay for the most part. When we jump to CAD detail, the temp dimensions are huge. Well, keep in mind, CAD details may not be using your active defaults. You might have your CAD defaults set to use some other defaults. So you can always change those defaults. But something I like to add to my toolbars is at the top of my toolbar, I have my favorite the active dimension defaults is what this tool is called. So I can very quickly on the fly switch to, say, my macro zoom dimensions. So notice when I'm zoomed in real tight here, and I'm going to draw out some kind of CAD box. If I zoom out here for a second, I'm going to draw a CAD box that's really tiny, right? So when I get in real tight, my arrows are going to be big, right? They're a little bit too big. So I will, on the fly, switch to something that's my macro details. And now all of a sudden, those dots are a little smaller. The dimensions are a little bit easier to manage while I'm working on it. So it's easy to just drop down to a different dimension default in the view that you're in.
Mm-hmm. Here's another way to do it. You know, a lot of times I'll draw my CAD details in a CAD detail window. That's the little CAD detail window. And same thing, I just have mine set up a little differently. Probably same difference from what you're talking about, Renee. But I have some different size texts here, 4.5. So if I have 1 to 2.25, that would be a 1/2 inch scale. So now when I do my temporary dimensions, my numbers are a lot smaller. If I switch to this, it's going to be a lot bigger. Is that right? No, they're not bigger. Okay, so that's a setting. Is that a setting in temporary dimensions? Oh, temporary dimensions are not part of the dimension. That's something we set up in your defaults under dimensions, temporary dimensions. So here's where we're setting that. And again, that's set. They're controlled by the layer, aren't they? What controls the size of the dang temporary dimensions?
Isn't it just the manual dimension size?
Yeah,
No.
nowadays it's all in the dimension tool. So double click your manual dimensions, for instance, and that's what you're
So if I'm going to
setting
go
it from.
see, but mine are not changing. So if I go do a plot, oh, there they changed. Okay, so it is part of our. It's part of our manual dimension settings. Okay. Yeah, so you need to switch to a different dimension size if your temporary dimensions aren't coming out too big. Again, when I do details too, I typically switch to my 1/2 inch plan size to do that. All right, let's go spin the wheel. I hope that answers.
I want to answer Norman James real quick here.
All right, what's that?
Yeah.
He's got off topic. Is there a time we can cover relink reference plans to an existing plan? I open a plan and get a message saying that a reference plan cannot be accessed. We did actually touch on what button this was last show.
We did.
I wanted to just mention Chief will look at its local. It'll look in a couple places. It'll look in its local folder. So wherever your plan is, wherever your layout is, it'll look in the containing folder for any reference files. So if your file convention system has it in such that you're renaming files, renaming your plan file, it's going to break those links. It's not going to be able to find it because it's looking for the name that you had given it before. So try not to rename your plan itself. Maybe, just rename the containing folder for your next session. The other thing is when you're missing material files, Chief's going to look in a couple places. It's going to look in your My Textures folder that's at the root of all the Chief data, or it's going to look at the folder that contains that plan file.
So the other thing you could do once, if you can still see the border for the link, which a lot of times you can't, or for the viewport, any viewport in Chief's layout pages can be linked to any plan and any camera view or floor plan or elevation that's in that plan. You simply click on the viewport, open it, and hit relink, and then go find the plan that you're working on, which would be the name of the plan would be right here. Okay, so if it's open, it'll be on the list. If it's not open, you will have to open it by hitting open plan. And then go to, use this, what do you want to link it to? Okay, so here's all the different things you can link that viewport to. So again, any viewport, any plan, anything in that plan at any time. It's really cool what they've done. I mean, yeah. I remember the days when anytime we'd send a 3D view, we'd have to resend it because they didn't link to anything. Nowadays, we can link to anything. So I hope that helps.
So you want to tackle this question? I've been trying to design a waterfall roof. There's no eave, but I can't get it. Can you show me what to do? I'm not sure.
Design a water roof.
That's just a really heavy slope is all you're doing there.
Well, it's the clarification is they said I mean a waterfall roof later on. So it's a waterfall. So I assume it comes down at an angle and then curves around so that there's shingles all the way to the soffit.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that that's just a really, really heavy angle roof, and then you might need to change your rafter profile at the end for it to look
So,
really
so
well.
yeah. So again, if it's what you're describing, the shingles would come around underneath here like this, right? Is that what you're thinking? The shingles would wrap.
Not all the way back to the soffit. It's just rounded on the front.
Okay.
They have some up about Minnetonka along the lake.
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, they're cool. You could. Well, here, let's experiment with something since we're talking CAD stuff. We'll give it a shot. See if it works for what he's trying to do. So if you came around like this and we just go into this view and we draw what it's going to look like. Okay, so just draw a box or a line, and I'm going to make it, make it fit like that. And we'll bring it under and back up. So that's the shape you want it to be your overhang. That's how you want the shingles to look.
Okay, so, interesting.
So let's just connect this, and you guys probably know where I'm going with this. So let's just connect this all up. Come on, get over here. I'm not sure if this will work. Actually, it should. I might have to offset it. So I'm going to make that my fascia now. Okay, for the roof plane. So let's go to the roof.
Or what? Your shadow board?
Let's I could make that the whole fascia, I think. But let's just try it. I haven't done this for years. I'm going to add that shape to my library. So there it is now. I'm going to click on the roof. I could set this as a default for the whole roof, or I could do it individually. Let's go to my, let's turn the gutter off. We got to get rid of that first of all. Let's just delete it. We've got to go to my, what would I do that as?
Shadow board. I almost want to use it as your gutter instead.
Yeah, you could do that too, now that you mention it. Possibly. We'd have to play with the height. But I think I really
it also needs to, sometimes that's the same thing on a gable end. So it has to be able to be, so a gutter wouldn't work because it's not going to be able to be used on the end.
Yeah, and I can't use fascia because I can't put a shape in for a fascia, but I can put a shape in for a shadow board. So I can add a new shape for that. So let's go to our
only thing about shadow board is your sheathing will cover the whole profile.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. So go to my user catalog and where to go? Molding. There it is. So let's see where it puts it right off the chute.
Yeah, how far out does that extend the sheathing?
Yeah. Okay. So now let's try something, and it's going to do the stupid pattern weird. I'm gonna have to. I don't know if I can.
So this is a great example of just kind of explaining what the different elements do in roofs.
I wonder if I could just do a curved roof that's curved at that much.
You could do that, yeah. But it's good to note your shadow board, your sheathing, and your substrate, your finish, whatever that's going to be, that will extend out to the full extent of the profile of your shadow board. That's just something to note in case you want to do something tricky with your stuff. And then a gutter can mount, to the front side of that, but you can offset a gutter, but it's not affecting the sheathing.
Can you turn ridge caps off on certain edges, or
just any edge you click on? Is there even a button there? Oh, you have to open the dialog for the roof and go to ridge cap and just turn it off, and it'll only go off on that edge that you've selected. So that's my active edge because of the dot handler. And click OK, and now no ridge cap.
So you could do it with two roof planes.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. That might be the better way to do it, but we don't have time to do that today.
No.
So interesting concept. All right. Good question though. Send that one ahead of the next show, or if you send me that question, and I'll play with it a little bit.
Got a few people mentioning just file convention systems. I have a system that I could easily go over in a show. So in another show, maybe someone mentioned that.
We're gonna have to start doing shows every day here. Which we probably could, and we never run out of stuff to talk about. Line style 4. The number on a line style. Okay, so you ever done a plan and when you go to your plan and you draw a CAD box, this might be your terrain perimeter, and you want to turn on the numbers for that CAD box. So any CAD line, any CAD box, you can show the length and the angle. We're just going to show the length. And how do you control that number, the size of it, and what it's displaying? All right. So if you open the dialog for the CAD box, there's nothing in here to do that. Okay. You can just turn it on and off. You can't change the size of it. So what you have to do is look at what layer that item is on. Okay. What layer is that line on? And then what we have to do is go to our default tools and go to our CAD and go to general CAD defaults. And then we can change when I use CAD, when I put a line on a layer, so you got all your layers available to you. Okay, and you can create custom layers too if you want to. But for my CAD default layer, I have it set up to display decimal feet with 2 decimals. If I want to change that, I could go define and change that. I want to show feet and inches. So I can change it to feet and inches and hit fraction. Smallest fraction will be 1/16 of an inch. Now the numbers on that line will display like that. So that's a little tricky one that the only place that I know of to change that is under the CAD defaults. Anybody else knows where else you can change that? Let me know. But this is the only place I know.
No, that's how it's been for a long time.
It's always been like that since day one.
Change it to a quadrant bearing, or add the quadrant bearing on there too.
Well, remember these display line angle as quadrant. Yeah. So
I think you need to put a north arrow in there for that to happen.
Well, yeah, and I have to turn that on in the line, show angles, and now it's showing the bearing. And you can change the way that shows up. Same place under your CAD, general CAD defaults. If I go minutes, seconds, will it change it there? Yeah, so now it's changing. It changed the way it displays that number. The other thing that drives me nuts, and we got to talk to them about at Chief, I want to be able to put all the freaking numbers on the outside of the CAD box. So when I use this to create my numbers around the outside of the house that just display feet, decimal feet and inches. So when how you see it around the house sometimes on your plot plan, I want to display decimal feet and inches. You cannot change which side of the line the numbers are on. So
can you add a macro to the plus or minus, adding text before or after?
I don't know. Maybe that's a Renee question, but yeah. So if I wanted to show decimal feet around the outside of a house with a CAD box, so sometimes what I'll do is I'll go like this and I'll create a CAD box that goes around the outside of the house, and I'll turn the under line style, I'll turn the length on, and I just want it to show the decimal feet and inches. And
you can also have your dimensions show two different ways.
Not on a CAD box.
Not on a CAD, but the regular dimension.
Yeah.
You probably can't do the direction, but you can.
Yeah.
Have it show a couple different ways.
All right. Let's go spin the wheel again.
The heck is this?
What's
flying Gable fascia. I haven't heard of that.
A what?
Yeah, what is flying Gable fascia?
Flying Gable fascia. I don't know what that is.
What are you saying? Is that someone? How do you do a flying Gable fascia with an additional shadow board? You have gutters stop shy of the fascia. Well, the gutter part shouldn't be too hard. Fascia extends. The fascia extends past the gutter. That I don't know. Let's go look at that quick. You can stop the gutter anywhere by breaking the line of the roof edge.
Yeah, I think that's the answer to the question.
So if I go here and I put a break here, or an inch from the end, I can turn the gutter off on that little piece right there by highlighting that line, opening it to dialog. Oh, here, actually, they have, what is this button here? I've never seen this one before. Place roof plane intersection point. Oh, weird. Why would anybody ever want to use that? But I can go here and turn the gutter off on that piece. So turn the gutter off. In fact, I can't do it there because I had that end all messed up. But let's go here. We'll break it. real close to the corner, open that, turn the gutter off. The way you're going to have to do your gable, you're probably going to have to use a slab to get the flying fascia to come down past the end of the gutter. I can't think of any other way that I would be able to do that. So, so if I go look at the 3D
And they're
view,
saying they can't get the fascia to extend.
I can't imagine you're going to get that to do it in Chief.
Well, you could break the roof plane for just the width of the fascia and then extend it that way.
Let's see how I can turn the gutter off there.
Yeah.
So if this were, a gable end, and I wanted the fascia to extend down, you could try this. Here, let me just do this. Let me just make that a gable, and we'll make this a redo the roof. Build my roof plans. Let's try this. Trouble is, it's going to have shingles on it if I do this. You could just break that, pull it down a little bit, but it's going to have shingles on it, I think. Yeah, it would look like that, and then your gutter would come into that. I wonder if we could do a rafter tail shape of the gutter. I don't know.
I could take one of your rafters and put it out there and extend the length of the rafter.
Yeah, or do a rafter tail, or just create a slab, do a cross section and create a slab.
Look, I just switched to mine. I mean, this is not proof of concept really, but we switched to standard rendering mode. But I just extended the roof plane out and said no gutter. It's still showing a shadow board that I've got in my roofs, but
sure, yeah,
you could extend it that way. And just all I'm doing is breaking the roof plane.
Shingles is how it's done. Yeah, must be a regional thing or something. I haven't ever noticed that or anything.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Spin the wheel. I did that one, didn't I?
Yeah, you already did that one.
Spin the wheel. All right.
You're heavy in the edit tools right now.
I guess so, huh?
Yeah.
Stretch CAD. I love that one. I don't think a lot of people know that's even there. So if you have a CAD drawing of something that you've created, let's just add some shape to this, and you look at this and you need to make it bigger or smaller. This could be a whole CAD detail. It could be anything. One way to do it is to draw a box around what you want to move. So I want to stretch it at this point. I want to make it 4 feet bigger that way. So just draw a box around it and then go to the edit menu and hit stretch CAD. You don't have to draw a box around it first, but I find that to be the best way to do it, because then I know I'm moving that area. And then I could just hit transform replicate and say move it to the right, whatever dimension you want. I'll say 4 feet. So I've just stretched that whole CAD object out and moved it over 4 feet. So stretch CAD, really a nice tool in Chief Architect.
How would you say you had two ends of something that you wanted to keep? How could you take some out of the middle too?
Let's find out. So let's say I wanted to take out 5 feet out of the middle of this. If I use, stretch CAD is used to stretch it, not to remove it.
But you might be able to go ahead.
Well, yeah, I would just,
it.
But you want to keep both ends.
I want to keep the ends. So let's just delete that in the middle.
So there. Yeah, so you'd end up, drawing however much you want to make it bigger or shorter. I could just trim it out that way. Stretch CAD isn't going to do anything for that, I don't think.
You can't delete it once.
You would. Yeah, you just go over one end and just move that over.
Move the whole thing over. Yeah.
Move the whole thing over, just like we did. Yep. So stretch CAD. Here I'll go the same thing, 5 feet to the right. and it's going to make it shorter and keep the end the same. So there you go. So you could do that. And same with the buildings. There's that same stretch function for a building. I mean, I could take a building like this and I could say, well, I want to make the building bigger or smaller. So I could say, what, but I don't want to move this stuff down here at the bottom. I just want to move this part of the building. And so you can make a shape of something and then go edit area. I could do just this floor or do all the floors. And then I would just move that to wherever I want it to be bigger and smaller. And I would typically use my transform replicate this to make it bigger or smaller. So that's your stretch CAD with a little caveat on how to make your 3D model bigger or smaller. Now, if you do this to your house, yeah, we can't, again, you can't just trim out. If I do that, I'm going to actually cut out that piece of the house. So what I need to do is the same way we did that CAD line, I need to move that over the whole end and move that whole end in using edit area. Edit areas for the house, stretch CADs, for the 3D, stretch CADs for 2D items. So I could go that way and then just move that to wherever I want it to be. Great tool. I use it all the time. All right, we're just about out of time. Let's go spin it up again. Any questions?
This is the detail that person was talking about. It's David Skog.
Okay, you're showing.
This is just a breaking of a gable roof and extending it out, and I still have a shadow board showing here, but that's it.
Yeah,
just broke the roof plane. It said no gutter, no shadow board, no anything for that extension.
Yep. Oh, so you extended it out. Excuse me. Off the same roof where the gutter's mounted to.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have shingles on it if you don't want the shingles on it.
They want shingles on it, I think.
Yeah, you probably do.
And then my shadow board is actually a drip flashing, so it does show all the way to the gable end. Just had one issue there. Whoa, something just happened. Whee. All right, back to you.
All right. All right. The old join line button. All right.
I like that same function in the join walls.
Yeah, it basically is the same thing. Since walls are created with lines, where you're just joining two walls together. The walls have, the walls are created with a line. I should flip that over, I guess. Well, let's see what Chief does. Chief should flip that maybe over by itself. So there's your join wall tool. And then, no, it didn't flip it over.
You have to have it has to be a room before
it has to be closed. Yeah. Yep, that's right. But we can do the same thing with join lines. Now, I've covered this before in other shows, and I just like to reiterate this one because it's such a handy tool. So whenever you have two lines and you want to join them, you could use the join line tool, and it's going to join them together. Now, that's not the only thing it does. So if you have a polyline shaped box, and so if I take this box here, let me just go draw a new one. This could be any kind of a polyline box. Well, here, I'll just draw a kitchen countertop. So I'm going to make that a different shape, and I'm going to reshape it. I'm just hitting the break key, and I've been messing with this like crazy, and I've just really got it all messed up, and now I just want to start over. So just like I did with the join line tool, just imagine you're joining two lines here. Okay, I want to join this line and this line to create that corner again. All right, so if you imagine this line and this line are going to join. So you just have to ignore the stuff in between. So I'm going to click on this line. I'm going to hit the join line tool, and I'm going to click this line. And you see the predictive move. It's showing you what it's going to do.
They added that in like X14 or something, right? The visual part? Yeah.
Click OK. And then if you're going to do more of this, turn it off for this session. Click OK, and then you're done. So you just straighten that edge out. Again, this is phenomenal. It works on anything.
Yeah.
So even if you have, something like an arc here. Oops, not that one. If I would have made this into an arc, and I've broken this, and I've got this in here, and it's kind of all messed up, and it's like, oh, I just need this line and this line to join up again. So click the line, join the line, done. Clean. So really a nice tool for doing that. wonderful for roofs, kitchens, things like that, wherever you've drawn a bunch of stuff that you don't want to have to start totally over. So that works really well. All right, we got time for one more.
You want to do that or answer a question?
Let me do one more. Let's see if I can find a quick one to spin up to, and then we'll answer a question or two, and then we got to call it a day. All right, the make parallel tool. God, we'll have to do this next time again because I got too many things on here I didn't cover. You never know when you put these things on a wheel how many you can get done in a day. But I suppose if that's all we did was go through them, we'd get them done. Make parallel. All right, so Chief has got that make parallel button that if you want to make a line parallel to another line, it's this button right here. So if I click on this and I click on that button and I click here, it does that. But if I wanted to make this box parallel to this line, so I want to make this whole box parallel to that line, and I try to use that same function, it only makes that one edge that I've selected. So Chief's got a little hidden function here, and I wish they'd add a button for this or a little indicator, because not a lot of people know about this. If you double click on the make parallel button first before you hit it, so I'm going to take that edge and I'm going to make it parallel. That line is going to rotate the whole box by clicking that. Rotate entire polyline, click here. Now you've rotated the whole thing. So a wonderful place to use that is on your, when you create a plan footprint and you need to rotate the house to be you're going to follow one edge of the plot plan or something like that. You could rotate your whole house in your plan footprint. So
and that'll stay that way until you change it back or you start a new session.
Yeah, as soon as So now if I wanted to rotate just an edge and I click that, it's going to rotate the whole box yet because I haven't set it back to that. But if you exit Chief and come back in, then it resets. So just an FYI. All right, you got a question?
We got a couple of questions actually. How do you remove 3 rooms, first and second floor?
How do you do what now?
Remove 3 rooms. When you were talking about the edit.
How do you remove 3 rooms, first and second floor?
I mean, you're just removing walls, which then.
Well, but this was during the edit tool, the edit area. So if it's just a 2-story house, you can edit all floors and just delete those rooms.
Right. Yeah. So if you had a bunch of rooms and I wanted to get rid of this middle section. Okay. So I want this to be over there. So I need to know that dimension. So I'm going to go like this and I want this wall to end up being over there. Let's get rid of that. So I've got to move this thing over. To get this wall to be over there, I've got to move it over whatever the number is here. Space. Come on, Chief. It's been so difficult. There we go. I guess I got to go frame into frame. You could do a surface to surface, doesn't matter. So we'll just make that 12 feet. Okay. So I want to get rid of that whole part. I'm going to move the whole part of my house over. If I've got a second floor and I want to move that as well, or if you have a foundation, you want to move it as well, use all floors. So I'm going to just draw a CAD box over the area I want to move. I'm going to draw it like this. I'm going to snap it right to the framing. And I'm going to click on Edit Area, All Floors, if I have multiple floors. Well, here I don't, but I'll still click this. So I'm going to move all floors, transform, replicate. I could just grab it and move it, or in this case, I'll just move it over 12 feet. Done. I just removed that whole section of the house on all floors. Great tool.
Back up. You can also delete. You can delete. You can copy. You can do a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. Good point, John. Because I could go Edit Area, All Floors. I could hit Copy, and then I could go to another plan and paste that whole thing into another plan if I wanted to. So if you have a room addition in one plan, you want to paste it in another plan, just put a CAD box or CAD point in the same place or whatever you need to precision point to point it, and then just go copy, paste, go like this, and then I could take that and move it over here if I wanted to, or move it to another plan. So that way you could, really nice way to do it.
That's an excellent tool for making.
Yeah. All right, one more question.
So there's a question about Would you please comment on upgrading an existing 3070 video card?
I wouldn't do it.
90.
That's not that big of an improvement.
You got a bunch of cash laying around.
Yeah.
Because the numbers haven't changed much on these video card prices, have they?
Yeah, if you feel like your 3070 is slow, just make sure when you're pulling your camera views, you're updating your view. If you're using ray trace, update your view so you're capping your max samples at 50 and you set it to cap live samples. And let me just pull this real quick.
Yeah, why don't you show everybody what you're talking about? Because that's really key. That even for 3070, this setting that Rain's going to show you should make a huge difference.
So if you haven't updated this since X15 added a denoiser. So if we turn on a ray trace view, I want to edit my rendering technique options. And I want to make sure that, here we go. Here's the section. Use ray tracing, maximum export samples. By default in X15, this is set to 50. You might have yours in your template
set to 1,000.
No, set to 50 in X15.
Is it?
It was 1,000. It was 1,000 before.
Okay.
Prior to X15.
So
Once they added the denoiser, we don't need that many samples. So set this to 50. Make sure cap live samples is on and denoise when complete. And your 3070 will feel a lot faster.
Yeah. I wonder, that could have just been my template that was set at 1,000.
Yeah. So if it is set to 1,000, drop it way back down, and your card will be screaming.
Here's a follow-up to that.
Yeah, I've reset my template to 20, but you got yours set at 4.
I use it for 4 while I'm working, and then when I want to go export something, I'll pump it up a little bit more.
Okay. And again, the way the image looks, you got to have lighting, outdoor lighting. You've got to hit your sun. You got to, materials, shadows. There's all sorts of things that go into that, which we don't have time to talk about right now.
His default was at 2,000.
Yeah.
Also,
drop that way down. You'll really enjoy it.
As important as that setting, make sure your video card drivers are up to date. I've found that to be massive. So go to Google, search. You want to search for GeForce Experience software. Okay. I want to show my screen. And when you select that, I'm not showing the right screen, am I? Where am I?
No.
Oh, now you did it.
What did I do here?
Yeah,
Where'd you guys go?
off.
Where'd you go? All right, there we go.
No, you don't have the right screen.
So, now I do. So
now
just search for this. This is Windows only, not Mac. Make sure it says NVIDIA, which it should come up first if you search that. Just go download this software and run it. And then run it every month. And Chief will keep your video drivers up to date. To know where you're at with your video drivers, go into Chief, go to Preferences, go to Video Card Status. So again, you go to Preferences, Video Card Status, and then it'll tell you your driver date. I'm at July 12th. Actually, I need to update this computer now. Just did my laptop the other day because it's at there's an August update now. So
I want to mention one more thing. Will you pull up your technique options for this rendering?
This one.
Yeah. No, sorry. The technique options.
This,
which is in your rendering button there. It was 3 icons to the right. Yeah. People miss this all the time. Cap live samples. You have it unchecked as well. Cap live samples.
Okay.
It will keep running. Your machine will keep running infinitely unless you have cap live samples turned on. And then denoise when complete should be checked as well.
Both of these.
Mm-hmm.
And then
just have that on by default.
You set this at 4 when you're working, and you turn it up bigger then to get a better view?
I turn it up to 50 when I'm rendering something else. I'll turn it up according to the scene. So if I got a bunch of undersampled pixels, I might turn it up more.
But so there's mine's going to go through, and then after it does 20 samples.
So it does. Don't move it now. Let it do 20 samples, and then the denoise bar hit at the bottom of the screen, and now it's denoised. Great.
Right. So that looks pretty good. If they'd all look like that all the time, it'd be great. I've got a 4090 with 24 meg or gig or whatever it is. Gig, yeah. Works well. But yeah, I paid for that. When I built my whole new computer, I just went with everything.
Yeah.
So, but it's nice. I do like it.
So desktop is 3080, just got a new laptop at 4070, and there's not a lot of difference.
Yeah.
And there shouldn't be. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as your drivers are up to date and your settings are correct, you should be good to go.
I just want to make a comment on this. This is when we were talking about deleting those rooms. We had to delete lumber also. I would encourage you to turn, if you have your auto framing turned on, turn it off.
Turn it off.
Only frame it when your model is done. Because once you've framed it, now the framing is separate from any of the model stuff, unless you have your auto framing turned on.
Right.
Not only that, but while you're drawing, every time you draw something, it's trying to build all the framing for your building.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
and that's slow.
Don't frame stuff until you've got your model done.
Yeah, or frame it and then delete all your framing if you want to see
Exactly.
what it looks like.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. Just in the in the middle of a project, I'll hit the frame everything button, frame all.
Yeah.
And then I can go look at the framing and see what I've got in my plan. That's cool. Yeah, great. Now I want to get rid of it, so I go to Edit, Delete Objects, and delete all the framing. Just click this.
Yeah.
Bam, delete everything. Now
not
you're back to a
sure.
nice clean
Hang on.
plan.
Hang on. Go
You're
through
not
that
sh-
one more
I
time.
wasn't showing my screen, was I? Thank
No.
you, John. At any time, you can frame your whole plan just by clicking Build Off Framing. I'm going to say no to turn on the framing layers. Then I could go look at it in 3D, see what I've got. I could look at my cross sections, do that. I mean, I tend to just leave it like that, but I don't have auto framing turned on. But then if your plan's running a little slow, clean it up by getting rid of the framing by going to Edit, Delete Objects, and then delete all the framing. Hit delete, done. You want to go look at it again, hit all framing. So that's pretty simple.
Yep.
All right, guys, we got to go. Thanks, everybody, for hanging in there. This is probably the longest we've ever gone over.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are amazing. And we'll see you the second week of next month because we won't be around the first week. All right.
Yeah. And see you in Idaho if you're there.
That's right. All right, guys. Take care. Bye, everyone.